Chapter 23 Dream a Little Dream of Us. Hey, that comic turned out pretty good, said Howard. Yeah, not too shabby, said George. Let's go to school and make copies of it. But what if somebody sees us? Said Howard. Don't worry, said George. I've got this all figured out. So George and Howard got dressed, headed to school, and sneaked into the office. In no time at all, they were running off copies of their new comic book and stapling them together. Things were going very well until the school secretary, Miss Anthrop, came back from her lunch break. What are you kids doing in my office? Miss Anthrop yelled. We're not in your office, said George with a mischievous smile. You're dreaming. Dreaming? Said Miss Anthrop. Yeah, and I can prove it, said George. Just call our teacher, Miss Whipple, on the intercom. She'll tell you that we're both in class right now. In class? Said Miss Anthrop. Yeah, said George. Obviously, we can't be in two places at the same time, so this has to be a dream, right? Miss Anthrop was suspicious. She grabbed the microphone on the intercom and contacted Miss Whipple's room. Miss Whipple, she said, where are George and Howard right now? Why, they're right here in my classroom, Miss Whipple replied through the speaker. Oh, really? Said Miss Anthrop. Of course, said Miss Whipple. They've been here all day. Miss Anthrop was stumped. Then she got a sneaky idea. All right, she said. If they're really in your classroom, then send them both to the office right now. Okay, said Miss Whipple. Miss Anthrop turned and looked at George and Howard with a snarly grin. I don't know what kind of trick you kids are trying to pull, she said. But you can't fool me. Suddenly, yesterday George and yesterday Howard walked into the office. Miss Anthrop looked at them and screamed. Then she looked at George and Howard and screamed again. Her head made a swishing sound as it swiveled back and forth between George and Howard, and yesterday George and yesterday Howard. See, said George. I told you this was a dream. You're right, cried Miss Anthrop. It all seems so vivid, but I must be dreaming. Of course you are, said George. And why should you waste a perfectly good dream hanging around the office? That's a good point, said Miss Anthrop. And why bother wearing such tight, restricting clothes? After all, it's my dream. I can do whatever I want. Now, wait a minute, said Howard. But it was too late. Miss Anthrop hoisted her dress over her head, lifted it up, and threw it out the window. Whee! She yelled. Dreaming is fun. Then she went away, laughing her head off, and slammed the office door behind her. What are you guys doing here? Said yesterday George sternly. This is our day to be at school. We ran out of food, and we needed to buy some supplies, said George. So we made a new comic to sell on the playground. Yesterday Howard walked over to the copy machine and inspected the new comic. How many did you make? He asked. About 200, said Howard. Well, leave them with us, said yesterday Howard. We'll sell them at recess today and bring the money to the treehouse after school. Yeah, said George. But you guys need to get out of here. Yesterday George interrupted. If anybody else catches us together, we'll all be in big trouble. All right, said George. Get out now, shouted yesterday George angrily. All right, said George. Give this. Yesterday George and yesterday Howard scooted up the comics in their arms and left the office in a huff. Man, said George, today was supposed to be our day to have fun, but we won't let us. I know, said Howard. Who do we think we are? We can't tell us what to do, said George. I'm not the boss of me. Me neither, said Howard. I'm going to do what I want, even if I don't want me to. That's telling yourself, said George. Chapter 24. Twin Pranks. George and Howard went out into the hallway and started switching the letters around on a bulletin board. Candy Bar Fundraiser. Soon they were spotted by two teachers. Hey, Mr. Miner barked. What do you kids think you're doing? Actually, we're not doing anything, said George. You guys are dreaming. Kent birthday. It took even less effort to persuade Mr. Miner and Miss Labor that they were dreaming too. Once they looked through Miss Whipple's classroom window and saw yesterday George and yesterday Howard sitting in their seats, they were convinced. There can't be two Georges and two Howards, cried Mr. Miner. So this has to be a dream. That's right, said Howard. You can do anything you want. Just don't take off your clothes and... Oops, too late. Mr. Miner tore off down the hallway, laughing like a crazy person and singing Itsy Bitsy Spider at the top of his lungs. Miss Laborer had the straight for the teacher's lounge, where she yanked open the refrigerator and started stuffing her face with everyone's lunches. Hey, Arthur! She cried. I can eat anything I want and not gain weight. Hey, that's our food, cried Mr. Wax. No, it's not, giggled Miss Labor. This is a dream. Check it out for yourselves. With a mouthful of tuna salad and chocolate chip cookies, she led them all down to Miss Whipple's classroom window. Soon they were convinced too. George and Howard watched in shock as teacher after teacher